Welcome to the latest video, and you find us today at RAF Massingham, or the site of the former RAF Massingham, which is on the north-west corner of Norfolk. It's next to the Purity village of the namesake, Great Massingham. We'll show you a few bits of that later, but we're concerned with the airfield as usual today. It was opened in 1940 and it was described as a bleak and windswept place, much as it is today. It is very, very windy. So join us on our latest venture as we walk around the site of RAF Massingham, and as usual I'll tell you more about it when we get there. Well, the area we're on now is the old dispersal area, and that building you can see in front of me is a T2 hangar. Now, T2 hangar, I believe, was sited there in the war, but this is not the original, and as you can see it's been well reclad anyway. You can see as we come up to it where the aircraft have gone, pretty much the same as Matlask on 2 videos back, and of course the horses weren't here during the war. So as I say, this airfield was actually constructed in 1940, or opened in 1940, to 2 Group Royal Air Force, and they had 2 squadrons of light bombers here. The bombers were the Douglas Bostons and the Bristol Blenheims. The Bostons were known as Havocks stateside during the war. In the early stages of the war it was actually a grass runways here, and in 1943 it was redeveloped to the classic A-class runway design with concrete runways, and we're following around quite a substantial bit of the taxiway, which has not been reduced in size like so many of them have. And like I've said, if I didn't, this is still an active airfield, and this is the taxiway, and I believe the hangar there is where they store the aircraft. So 2 squadrons are 18 and 107 squadrons. So the Blenheims came from 18 and 107 squadrons, and the Douglas Bostons came from 107 also, and 342 squadrons. One of the Boston squadrons was actually a Free French squadron, and rather ironically one of their targets, or a lot of their targets during the war, were in France. The Bostons and the Blenheims were light bombers, and they carried out a lot of light bombing missions in occupied Europe. The Boston was about 100 miles an hour faster than the Blenheim, and was a lot more successful, and the Blenheim had a very, shall we say, mixed record during the war. And later in the war there was also a squadron of Mosquitoes based here, just like a Swannington. I'll put a link at the end of the video to Matlask. You might not be able to see it, but the little hut there, the little green hut that's next to it, that's got a C on it, and that means it's the operations. That's where you go and pay your landing fees, and it's a little, looks like a garden shed. As you can see, the taxiway goes off into the distance. We'll go as far as we can, but it's all private property. Yes. 169 Mosquito Squadron arrived, and they carried out mainly night missions. In addition to those 3 squadrons, we also had Beaufighters, Wellingtons, Ansons and Oxfords. They carried out interception radar training under 1692 Squadron, Bomber Squadron Training Unit. In June and July 1941, the Royal Air Force were evaluating the B-17 bomber, and it was actually some of the training and evaluation was carried out here, but it wasn't very successful, and the RAF never widely used the B-17. Unlike the 8th Air Force that used them to great effect later in the war. Then you come along the taxiway, which is the footpath, and down that way, but the footpath also extends to further down here. And here you should be able to get a view of the end of one of the runways. Now you can see this rather crude little map out here. Where my thumb is, that is where that T2 hangar is behind us, and we're coming round here to the end of the active runway, which is hopefully not in use today. We should get a good view of it looking down the main runway, which I think was 2,000 yards long, and the other 2 runways were 1,400 yards long each. So as Tony walks into view there, you can see that's the actual main runway. It's an active runway. I'm going to put you on fake drone. And there is another taxiway that goes around the airfield. Well, it appears I misinformed you. This runway here is only 1400 yards in length, and the main one probably ran across the horizon, which was 2000 yards long, and the other runway ran across there. So two famous people fly from here in the war. One was England cricketer Bill Edrich and BBC sports commentator Kenneth Wolstenholme. They may not be familiar names now, but they've both obviously long passed, or died even. The airfield closed to operations in 1945-46, but the nearby West Raynham, to which this is a satellite airfield, used it as a training base for another 4 years, and it was sold off in 1958. And as you can see, largely returned to agriculture, but flying has continued for most of that time. Well, as we wander our way back, Tony's just spotted something which is rather unique, and I hope it shows. I think you can see one there and one there. Actually footprints. I think there's even one here. Yeah, there's one there as well. They're actually footprints, so someone actually walked into this concrete before it was set, back in the war. A bit like finding prehistoric footprints. You can see they probably laid this bit first before they put the rest of this concrete down. Someone actually wandered in there. I should think they got shouted at for that. But yeah, that's quite incredible. Right, this is where we came in. The car's parked down there. And it looks like someone wasn't very clever again. There's small footprints in the concrete. So those footprints have been there for, what, 85 years? 83 years? Very random. Just before we go on to our next destination, just show you what a beautiful village Massingham really is, or Great Massingham. Just over there is the pub that used to be called the Rose and Crown. It's now called the Dabbling Duck, frequented by Alan Sugar and, in fact, William and Kate as well. And there's probably a host of other celebrities come up here, but it is actually a nice village here. It's a very nice setting. Little one here. That's a little old one, isn't it? Original door as well.
Yeah.
Crikey. This gentleman's very kindly let us show around this old blister hangar that's here.
That one there.
Oh right, yeah. That probably was a squash court looking at the height of it.
Yeah.
Great up and going.
No.
There is some of them underground dungeons over there.
Yeah.
Not where you're interested in.
Oh, there is it? Yeah.
There used to be some red lines there, I think. We spoke out the name.
There's another one I've been to at Holton Street near Blickling.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah, so the gentleman saying this used to be the squash court.
Where I used to.
There's just mainly for storage.
What's that Calvin Square?
No. They put some ties in it.
Right.
As you can see, it's in a pretty dodgy condition.
It's unsafe. It's unsafe really.
Still wooden brackets there, still some original wood on the wall.
Dungeons over there.
Yeah, we just saw this blister hangar as it was going by. I thought we'd drop in and ask the gentleman, and there's a few of them around actually. Did not know that was there though. Don't come on here without permission though. And just in the distance there, I can see it, yeah. Little building, and he's very kindly given us his time to do this. Like I say, don't just wander on here because it is all private property. And as you can see on the ground, like I said, look down. Ah, the old surface shelters. Ah, yeah, yeah.
Loads of them, mate.
Wow.
4 or 5 of them. Yeah.
Oh, good grief, did not know this was here.
Pardon?
I did not know this was here.
There's another load over there, and there's another load in there. Yeah. Children have been playing.
Getting some use nowadays, isn't it?
You probably better go in this way if you want to see the best one.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Down here, yeah, sure. Let you be the guide. These are very similar to the ones that we've seen at Racky.
I think this one's about the best.
Let's see what's down here. We've actually just crossed the public footpath, so you could probably see these near the condition they would have been after the war, because they've still got the revetted mud at the side. Oh, they're pretty good, Nick. Even though they're overgrown, they're still whole, aren't they?
Take some knocking up. We knocked one up over there.
Did they?
Good concrete, what they use.
I'm surprised they're not listed structures. Any, things like this is incredible. This one is over here. Lots to explore. It's actually just off a public footpath. I've looked that one up, I think. Foundation for something there, small building.
The back of that, the back of that is getting unsafe as well.
Bit of leaning, is it?
Yeah.
We're on some foundations here now, and just around the bottom of the urinal. And I reckon the ones at Racky, they cleaned out the urinal, put water through it, and the drains still weren't blocked.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The toilet's still here somewhere if you look. Because that was old. That was a building all the way down.
Yeah, yeah.
You can see where these nest nuts have been bolted. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All that was a building. I don't know what it was here, whether a cook place or what, I don't know.
Yeah. Wasn't the technical site, was it? Perhaps.
The toilets that the urinals are over. The toilet, where the toilet. See where it's sat, look.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The bowl.
Road,
Yeah.
road it right down.
Right.
And the same other end, look.
Yeah. You see the cubicle wall in it as well.
Yeah, the drains all that still work.
Right, we've come to an area called Harpley Dams, and as you can see behind me, it's fenced off. Now this, in 1938, was taken over by the Ministry of War, and they built a fuel depot here. Now this is built in an old quarry, and the quarry was where they dug out for the railway. The MOD, or Ministry of War as it was called then, took it over and used it as a fuel depot, because RAF Rainham was being built up the road. And through here, on the bottom here, over this area here, was a railway line. So the fuel came in by train from Yorkshire and was deposited here and pumped to West Rainham. That was probably later on in the war, but it was actually then also taken to Massingham up the road here. It's all pretty fenced off. It ceased to be used when Rainham shut, probably before then. Access is almost impossible. Although if you look on YouTube, some people have actually got in here, but it's all this fence in here. That's all the way round. Vivo built for change. Site controlled by Vivo. Yeah, oh, I can see one of them. Just here. See the side of one of the fuel storage bunkers. Just another one of them when we need a drone, innit? Well, once again, I hope you enjoyed the video. RAF Massingham and its associated sites. So anyway, hope you found some interest in that. And as usual, please like, subscribe, comment, and see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.